Hey folks, Sars Gold here, and I'm coming to today with a little bit of a discussion pertaining to support builds. Now, throughout Season 5, the status quo for support build was typically a pair of boots, a sight stone, and a support item of your choice. Now with the Preseason 6 patch having dropped, there is a bit of a change going on with that. One of the first changes for that is the fact of, well, the potions here. You now have the option of buying a refillable potion. Now this is a static item that sits in your item slots, unlike the potions that would be consumed, and you can actually upgrade it to a corrupting potion. Now what this means is that you could end up with an additional item in your slots that, if you build with the corrupting potion, you might keep that throughout most of the game, and that takes away from one of your available slots. Now, that's not too bad, but it once again can kind of limit your build potential, but it's one of the few ways you can actually get mana back on a potion, since they got rid of the mana potions. Now, late game though, you may not need that. A lot of builds that require mana usually fix their mana problems within a couple items. So that's like only an option for some. Then there's the whole thing about the eye items. They build out the Sight Stone and a tier 2 upgraded support item of your choice. And they give you the Eye of the Equinox, Eye of the Oasis, or Eye of the Watchers. Now of these, the Eye of the Equinox is probably the best for the passive gold as well as the health regen and health, especially if you're playing a tank character like Alistair. Eye of Oasis provides a little bit of health, mana regen, health regen, and the benefit here of the 10 health gained for nearby minions dying, which in a few waves can be quite a bit of help. Eye of the Watchers is the only one that provides a bit of ability power. Otherwise, once again, passive gold and the mana regen and stuff, and 200 health. And it adds a little bit of extra damage, plus you get a little bit of gold, like 3 times every 30 seconds for the tribute passive whenever you attack or use an ability against another champion, or turret or something tower. Otherwise, they give you the effect of a Ruby Sightstone as far as the charges for stealth wards. Now, what these do, though, is, you lose out on the active for your support item. So, you wouldn't get the shield, you wouldn't get the speed boost, you wouldn't get the slowing attack that actually does damage, But you get to save a slot, basically, get the passive of your choice still, and get all the wards. Now, doing that opens you up to, 4 items in a build. So basically it's one of these, a pair of boots, and then 4 items of your choice. And there's your build. So it gives you a lot more freedom for building support items, or building items on your support item, I should say. Now, of course, this once again, like I was going to say before, there is some rare occasions back in Season 5 and stuff, where I would build some champions without boots, or some support champions without support items. And I would just start with the Ruby Crystal and rush Sight Stone. And that was like, some of my Alistair builds would do that. Or Blitzcrank, I could also do that for a tank Blitzcrank and stuff. Typically the tank builds, because you rush the health, you have high resistance already. It was pretty good. It would slow down your gold game a bit, but, provided they're going for a generally budget build, it worked out pretty well. Like high resist, low cost armor pieces, or magic resist pieces, You can actually do that a little more efficiently here as well too, especially since they've increased the gold gain passively. But aside from that, there actually still are a good number of budget items. They have increased the cost on a lot of items, but there's some budget support items out there which can be pretty useful for certain champions. Let's see, start from right around the 1700 mark. There you go. Staff of Flowing Water, 1735. This is a tier 3 item, basically. Stats aren't great, but hey, it's less than 2,000 gold. It gives you mana, which is huge right now. This right here alone gives you pretty much all the mana you'd really need for any caster-based support champion, such as Soraka, Janna, and the like, or even like an Annie and stuff like that. This isn't too bad. It also gives a little bit of magic resist because it builds out of the chalice, and altogether it's fairly cheap. I mean, after the base pieces, the combine cost is really low. It doesn't give you a whole lot of base mana regen, but it gives you that 2% of missing mana, as well as the increased movement speed and mana regen while in the river, which, as a support, by the time you can grab this item, even after rushing Sight Stone, you rush Sight Stone, you rush this, and you're ready to roam about that point. Now, from there, of course, you can still go for the support items, in their own rights. At full build, they're pretty good. Let's see, Art and Sensor is still good for certain supports. Once again, like Janna, Soraka, Sona, even the support Orianas and stuff like that. Alistair, like for my Art Moo build, which I'll remake at some point. Will of the Ancients got cheaper, which for 2300, 80 ability power, 10% cooldown reduction. If you've gotten the Staff of Flowing Water for the mana regen, that's not too bad. It also gives you the spell vamp, which for some of those champions isn't too great because a lot of their stuff's AoE anyway. But for like an Annie and stuff, it's pretty useful on a budget. It kills Crucible, good for once again those Healy supports. Also goes along with the Ardent Sensor, so you can build together, that kind of stuff. Abyssal Scepter got cheaper, so that's another nice thing. So this right here becomes a nice resist item for well, you can use it on some Alistairs, I guess, if you're going for an AP Alistair with some resist and stuff. Otherwise, Leona, it'll be good Leona item for resists and ability power, which, funny enough, Leona can use ability power. It's usually not used too much, but considering with her you don't need a whole lot of health, mostly resists, that's pretty good. In fact, Leona with that, pardon me, getting over a bit of a cold there, so that might happen. But aside from the Staff of Flowing Water not being too bad on her for the mana regen and movement speed, roaming potential, and stuff like that, followed by that, yeah, not too bad. I mean, you're rushing Sight Stone, going for full Ruby Sight Stone, grabbing that thing, Thornmail. Thornmail's 100 armor, one of the biggest armor chunks. Sorry about that. Thornmail, 100 armor, 2350. Really cheap, good budget item. If you're building on a budget. Zeke's Harbinger, really good for support item, really cheap. You can kind of see a pattern here. They kind of want supports to, not having a whole lot of gold even compared to everyone else. You can still reach a full build pretty fast even without a support item. But yeah, I mean that's like the budget items right there. You get the little more expensive items here like the Morel and Omicron. Still, it's only 2550. 2600 gets you Righteous Glory. Now the funny thing is entropy here is at this level. You really wouldn't think of entropy on a support, except for in a couple of places, such as sometimes a Blitzcrank. It can work. I mean, usually it'd go for the, yeah, Iceborne Gauntlets. Couldn't remember the name of it there for a second. On a Blitzcrank because then it comes with the AP, but entropy's not too bad either, and it's a little bit cheaper now. At least compared to other options. And of course, there is the Smite items. I do still run Smite on Blitzcrank on occasion. And Cinderhulk's a great item for him. You can also run Smite on Tom Kench. You could even run Smite on Alistair, but I usually don't. from there, Void Staff, you're looking at the Vel'Koz and Brand, Annie, yeah, other people like that who want to burn people down with AP based stuff, and that gets to where we start getting into more expensive items. But yeah, so budget items like Void Staff and below are typically what I'd consider a budget item, considering the fact that you now have items going for 3,800. So on a support budget, you're looking at that kind of stuff, and below. Frozen Heart, it's no longer, you could still go for it, but that might be like a big ticket item for support. Or Dead Man's Plate, like in the case of this build here. This Alistair build, I'm going for the Eye of the Equinox, so I can afford to get Dead Man's Plate, Draw Portal, and then a couple of these items right down here. But anyway, so yeah, basically though, with the these items, it helps to open up more opportunities for builds. There's going to be so much more variables you can do. Just in some of the builds here that I've updated, and maybe featuring and stuff. Like before, where 3 items used to be flavor stuff. After that stuff, it's like now I can build 4 items. Now I'm not limited to just 3 items around a support build anymore, thanks to the eyes. But anyway, I'd like to hear you guys' comments about this subject and discussion, and feel free to discuss below, or in the appropriate threads where this post is seen. And if you guys like this video, go ahead and please hit the like button, and of course if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. It'll help out a lot. And I will see you guys next time.